Alright, what's going on, y'all? It's 𝐦𝐤𝐳𝐫𝐿 back again with another video, but today I'm doing something different. My very first build video for Hogwarts Legacy. I'm super stoked about this, first of all, because at first I thought that the builds weren't really going to be that in-depth. I thought that there would be builds comprised of different spell combinations and that's it. But as I played more through and got towards endgame a little bit, I realized that it's deeper than I thought. Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's 𝐦𝐤𝐳𝐫𝐿, and if you enjoy videos like this and you want to support everything that I do, don't hesitate to like the video and subscribe to my channel if you're new. Now let's dive right into my first build video, and this one is pretty crazy. I think you're really gonna like this. It's not really like much that I've seen out there on the net. So first, let me explain to you what builds are comprised of. It's 4 separate things. You have your spells, your gear, your talents, and most importantly, traits, level 3 in particular, because the level 3 traits are the only ones that can be slotted into legendary gear. And let me just show you first of all the spells combination that I'm using for this build. This is kind of like a bladed samurai build because I'm using Diffindo. And Diffindo is the only thing that slices through enemies. And each one of these spells has something that it ties into with the talents, because when you level up the talents, it helps the spells in a certain way, which is important because once you spec into talents, you can't respec. So you just have to be careful what you pick. But the spells that I have are Diffindo, Expelliarmus, Levioso, and Imperio, and I'm loving Imperio. So let me get into this. First of all, Diffindo, and let me just tell you something about this build. One thing about Hogwarts Legacy is when you're dealing base damage, when you're just using your wand, you're not using any spells, it does marginal damage at best, right? And I was trying to figure out how can I make that deal even more. So I was able to triple my damage output with just my basic attacks. And the way that I'm able to do that is how I explained to you with everything together. So if you look at Diffindo, this is what it does. It sends a blade of magic and slices through enemies. For the build in general, if you go to the loom right here, these are the pieces that I'm using. And by the way, the gear that you have, the clothing, I think the developers should have gave you more of inventory space, because you only have 20. And if you want to have like up to 3 builds, you can't even really do it. You're just going to have to replace the traits if you want to make a new build. And I think that's kind of whack. There's not even a stash system or anything like that. Maybe they didn't think people were going to be making different builds, but this definitely is a platform to make multiple builds. So I think they should do something about the inventory space. But anyways, the trait that I'm using for this build, and it really doesn't matter which legendary gear you have on. The only thing that matters is whether it's defense or offense. And for a build that has like all damage, spells, and traits, you want to have offense. And some of them I have offense, but mostly I have defense. But for this hat, if I view the trait right here, and I made a video about how to get level 3 traits, guaranteed. It's a very easy method. The link will be in the description on how to do that. But the one that I'm using primarily for this build is called Unforgivable. And this significantly increases damage dealt to cursed targets. You add it to your gear with 1 𝐒𝐻𝐿 fur. And in order to upgrade it, you need some other stuff. But I haven't been upgrading things yet because I'm trying to wait till I get even higher level gear so I can feel like it's worth upgrading, you know? The good thing about traits is that you can stack these all on your build. The more you put, the stronger it's going to be. And this is how I'm able to deal that insane damage with my base attack, because the way that I'm cursing them at the beginning of the match, I'm either using Imperio or Expelliarmus. And if you go into the talents here, it's under the dark arts and it's within the first category to unlock, so it's real easy. When you use Expelliarmus, it has the same effect as a curse on enemies, and cursed enemies take increased damage. Now they already take increased damage without you even putting that level 3 trait on you. And this is what I was talking about with Diffindo. Diffindo right here, slice through impacted enemies to strike additional targets. And it's just great to have if you're using Diffindo. So here's how it works, right? You start off a battle, you curse the strongest enemy, and once they're cursed, of course they fight for you and that helps you out, especially if it's a troll and he fights for you and just starts destroying people. But I just like fighting them because this build is so OP. I was in Dark Arts Arena just going ham. Because once you hit them with Expelliarmus, they're cursed. You don't even have to hit them with the base attack. But if you use Diffindo, it's a one-shot, no matter what. It's going to one-shot these enemies. And the reason why I have Levioso is because when enemies are in the air and they levitate in the air, when you're hitting them, they take increased damage while they're in the air. And it's just good if you occasionally run into those guys who have shields, those yellow shields, you could break them with Levioso. And the base damage is just great. I just love the base damage. If you see here, look how low it is without me disarming them, without me cursing them. As soon as I curse them, the damage triples. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention, also on the traits, and this is within the core area, which increases your overall stats. And for this one, when you deal your basic cast, the impact reduces spell cooldowns. So in between these spell cooldowns, you're getting Expelliarmus back so you can hurry up and curse another enemy. So I think that this build is just a straightforward damage dealer, DPS to the max. If you look at my build, I wasn't able to get everything to be legendary. I have all but one, and those are the gloves. So for this one, I just put a level 2 laceration in here because the extraordinary gear only has a trait slot level of 2. Only the legendary gear is what gives you level 3 traits. And you can see I put unforgivable in every single one. And the great thing about traits is that once you unlock one of them, you have an unlimited amount of them, which is why I stacked them everywhere. Now I'm working on another build that focuses on stealth mainly. I've upgraded stealth all the way to the max because I don't know if you played Skyrim, but when you have high stealth in Skyrim, you can literally walk in front of people and they won't see you. It's pretty much the same on Hogwarts Legacy, but there's something else about that I want to show you, and I'm going to make that build and I'm going to upload it soon so you can see exactly what I'm talking about, because I know you can one-shot enemies with 𝒉𝒍𝒑𝒔 Totalis, but with trolls you can't really one-shot them, but you can get close to it, and I'm going to show you how in the next build that I do. But for this one, that'll do it. Let me know what you think about this. Tell me what builds you've made so far. I see builds starting to spawn up on the internet, on YouTube, because people are getting the end game and they're sharing their builds. And these builds are not average. They're not just regular. There's a lot you can do with them. And I'm pretty excited about what ideas I'm thinking about coming up with next. Like I said, let me know what you think about this down below. If you enjoyed this, drop a like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Be right out.